Hi guys, welcome back.
Welcome everybody.
Well, I suppose this is all continuing in with everything we've done just lately. With a lot of people said they're learning a lot, and it's teaching them, so it's a bit like lesson going on. Now, I was asked a question from
Aaron
about, what was it?
The rule of thumb.
Yeah, is there a rule of thumb for the
depth of
the tenon?
So for different size bowls.
Yeah, for different size bowls and things like that. Now, depth of I have to say no, there isn't. It's going to sound worse, but there is no right or wrong on depths of tenons and things. There is a, sorry, hang on, let me get that correct. There is a wrong because you don't want your tenon to be too big, but there are so many factors that come in. The main one is, what jaws have you got? What are the depth of your jaws? Okay, now I've got these jaws. These are the standard jaws that come with your 50mm jaws that come with the record power chucks. Okay, record power Nova chucks and all that. Now they are, and don't worry about my chuck key, my lathe is not turned off for anyone that wants to jump on and tell me I'm
not turned on. You mean, yeah, it's not turned on.
Switched on. There's no power. There's no electric. Right. Okay. These actually, from front here to the very back, they actually have, I say that's sort of 12 to 13mm. Okay, now I would say on these jaws, so you wouldn't really want to go over a 10mm tenon, okay, because you don't want to bottom out, but you can use anything less than that. It's just the bottoming out you don't want. Now I suppose you would say a perfect tenon for that would be like this one, which I've done on here, which is around 8mm. Okay, so an 8mm tenon will pop in there, okay, and we're tightened down. We're sitting flush against the bottom of the bowl here, okay, and we've got plenty of gap at the back here, so we're not bottoming out on that. Okay, so on these jaws, that would be absolutely, oh sorry, it's got a wiggle because my chuck's not actually tightened on there, right. That will give you a good hold. Okay, again, perfect circle, we're not over worried about perfect circle. We explain a little bit on that. Well, I've done it so many times, but again, it's shouldered up on the bottom. Now you don't have to, I know a lot of people probably argue this and think you've got to have a flat here. You do not need to have a flat at this point. Okay, it can be rounded because it still butts up against the inside part of that jaw. Okay, and that is fine. You can see this is not a perfect flat at the bottom there. Okay, it's slightly rounded, as you can see, it rounds round, but that's absolutely perfect. Okay, we've got that, we've got a good hold, and that's fine. Okay, so for these particular jaws, that I suppose if you're roughing down this piece and doing that sort of work, you're going to take a few heavy cuts, then that would be a perfect sort of size tenon for these jaws, for this sort of size bowl. That would be okay. Now with these particular jaws, I'm not as keen when I've got a very small tenon. Like I quite like a small tenon a lot of the time, but on these jaws they tend to have a slight roundedness. It's not a fault with them, it's nothing wrong. They're dovetailed and they have a ridge here, a bit like I suppose it'd be similar to like the Axminster C jaws. There's a little ridge at the front of them, okay, which can bite in. Some people like to put a little groove in so it slots in. That's up to you. But what I find, because they're a bit rounded there, they get hold of that okay, and they've got it. But for me, I'm a little bit it's a little bit rounded, so that to me, I don't tend to use very small tenons on this type of jaws. So again, it's coming down to the type of jaws you've got, not necessarily a perfect size for holding, or what size bowl is. The bowl itself isn't the issue. Now for that, my favourite jaws for holding those sort would be these, like the these sharp jaws, ripple jaws, whatever you want to call them. Okay, they're a fantastic jaw. Now what I like about these, they've got a very sharp edge here. So when I put this in here, okay, that is really nice. That grips in there nice and tight. Okay, now you've got all this jaw, but you've only got that tiny little tenon. But these can only take a maximum of a 5mm tenon, because you've only got that short bit before the next. That ripple, what you've got there, is also replicated on the inside. So if I take that out, if I use, for instance, this one, when I tighten down, it then straight away pushes that away. See, it's actually got a gap. Look, it pushes it away, so it pushes it out. So I can't hold an 8mm tenon on these jaws because I've got that gap there, which you can see. It's like a tooth. It's like a loose tooth. See, you'll wiggle it out. It won't matter how much I tighten that up, it will still wiggle because it can't actually butt up against that jaw. It doesn't have to butt up against the whole thing. It just has to have that edge there, and it can't do it. It pushes it out. Okay. With that, if you don't want to use a small tenon, as I said, that is it. Basically, 5mm is all you can get in there. If you're not comfortable with that, your other option is to go for something that's a lot bigger, that goes down to right down past. So with these jaws, you could put a long tenon on. You don't have to dovetail it. You can put it a straight tenon. Okay, so straight tenon, nice and long, gets you right in there, and that's it. And there's no loose tooth with that. Okay, that's the other option you've got. Personally, it's not something I would like. I don't want a big tenon like that. I don't need it. It's not necessary. The thing is, there's no more strength, to be honest, in a tenon like that or a tenon like that, because the bit that matters is where this tenon actually connects to the bottom of the bowl. That bit in there, that's the weak point. So when this, if you get a catch, that's where it will always go, because it pulls it away, it tears it off. So it's not really the depth that's important. I think what I tend to find what is more important with that is the actual size, the width of it, you know, that way, opening out that way. I'll show you what I'm talking about, is what I would find more important on a bowl as you go up in size bowls. And if we go back to this one, okay, and I've got the, on this piece here, so I would say I've got the perfect size tenon there, okay, which would be literally what people would say is a perfect size. It's a perfect round, okay, and we pop that in there. Okay, I've got a full hold of it. It's not bottomed out, it's there, and that's it. But when you've got bowls this size, see, the thing is, you've got here, if you like that, you get a wobble. So if you think of when you're going bump, 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 or you get a catch, see, it's how much it's holding out that causes the problem. Okay, because we've only got this area here, we've only got this. So if we then go the other way, and I've put two on here, and this is where, as you get for the bigger bowl, it's not the depth of your tenon, it's actually the width of the tenon that becomes more important. So if I take this one off and I go for something like a 4-inch jaw, and I've made sure that that one can fit inside that and not bottom out. Now when I put that one in, okay, and I tighten down like so, now because I've got such a wide area on the bottom, when I bang it, it still runs true. So I still get it running true here. I've got so much here, so it's that leverage thing. Obviously, the smaller that area, the more chance it's got of levering. And when you get that catch, what it does, it puts that pressure on there, and that's when, bang, that tenon just comes off. Okay, so if you've got a bit of hogging to do, you want to really hog it out, it's really out of shape, then basically if a good set of jaws, if you do a lot of that sort of work, bowl work, then a nice 4-inch set of jaws, that'll give you your best hold. And that's got a small, that is only a small tenon on that. I'll actually measure that, pop that off. That tenon for that is 5mm. Okay, so I've got 5mm tenon there, and this one had a 7mm tenon. So I've got 7mm and a 5mm, and the 5mm held stronger than the 7 because I've got more surface area. I'm on more surface area here. So, which then would bring me to another point of where this so-called perfect circle always gives you the best hold. Well, as we've just seen, this one, we end up, because it's small. So if you haven't got other jaws, then this is where you don't worry about perfect circle, because this is going to take these out to its max opening. There we are. Okay, we've got our normal size tenon there, and we're tightened down on that. And now, because we've got a wider holding area, that's why they give you jaws, like I said before, that can hold from a 50mm tenon up to whatever that size tenon is. Okay, so these go from 50 up to 60, so that gives me 10mm extra. Okay, but that 10mm extra is 10mm at the center. These have come out to 70mm, so that gives me 70mm of that surface area, so that stops that leverage. So that's when I don't want a perfect circle, because a perfect circle is not going to give me the best hold on that. If I want something big like this and I want to come in, I want to take some rough cuts down here and get roughing in there and hog it out, then I want something that's going to stop any twisting on here. Okay, perfect circle will not give that, and that's why your jaws can go from this size, okay, which, like I said, at its full extent, fully opened, we have 75mm, which is from the outside of the jaws. So that means we're holding nearly 3 inches diameter on the outside. We've got that support there, opposed to if we come down here and we go for our perfect circle, which is pretty much there, okay, we drop down to only 55mm. Okay, so that's the difference. That's when I say I don't want a perfect circle, because I want it to have more support, or I want to get a better grip on it. Perfect circle is okay, but it's not always the best. And then when you've got these jaws, the main thing is you don't want is, now I've done an oversized tenon on there. Now that just basically fits, okay. Now when I tighten that down like so, it hasn't pulled out, it is actually perfect. I've got full hold on that, okay, but I am touching the bottom. But because this tenon's got a dead flat bottom, you can get away with it. It's not the best, but I've got away with it, okay. Now that's the biggest tenon I could really get on there, but as you can see, that's a full tenon there, okay, right in, and we are pretty much a perfect circle there. But when I bang it, look, it's actually coming out. So it's, again, I think the biggest point to make is don't get catches, because if you get a catch, it doesn't matter what you've got or how you've got it, it's going to move. But that will move on there, even though I've got hold of all of that, because we've still got a low surface area here. We've got a small circle. If we extend that and it's bigger, if that was holding that, now you think if that was holding that out there, okay, that wouldn't go anywhere. And that's what I've got a bowl here which is pretty much the same size. It can't go in this chuck. As we've seen with all the Tenons, even from perfect circle to one, unless we've gone for big. So if I put these ones back on for here for a minute, and I've got the same sort of size bowl here, and I pop this one in. Now this is, again, this has got a tiny, only got that little 5mm tenon. I don't even know whether it's 5mm actually. No, it's not even 5mm. I've got 3mm. I've got 3mm tenon there, okay? So that's all that is 3mm. So I tighten that like so. It's, as you say, tight. I always say the same. Let me undo it. Look, we go tight, so we've got it, it's tight, and a nip. That is it. But now that one, no movement. It can't move at all because we've got this area we're holding around to it. So there's no leverage. It can't get no leverage on it. So personally, the best tenon, that's only 3mm, okay? And this one had its full. We can actually go to 12mm on that one before we'd bottom out, okay? We had 11mm on that, so we still had that little bit at the bottom. We weren't bottomed out, but you see a couple of little bangs and we can actually loosen that, even though we've got hold of it on a perfect circle. This one is 3mm, but we can't move that at all. So it's not the size of your tenon, it's more important on how much surface area you can support here. Okay, what tends to happen with tenons, when they break, if you get a catch and it flies off, this is always broke here. The tenon never breaks here inside the chuck. You don't have like half your tenon left there. You might split it that way and have a bit of it left, but normally it's split off the bottom of the bowl and it goes, okay? And that's because when you've got a bowl big enough, a bit bigger than this, so if you go to a bowl like I said here, anything once you get up to that sort of size, if you're holding on that sort of size tenon, any leverage, there's so much, it will just peel that off, okay? And that's where, again, getting back to it, a recess can actually be better, because the recess, you get the whole of this inside, so you've got more surface area in contact, and it's held inside a dovetail. So it's, again, it's harder to pull it out than it is to pull it off, okay? Because the thing is with wood gives, okay? It's not like metal. Wood gives. So when you put tenons in, they give. We'll see what we can do with that. I haven't got a recess made because the question wasn't asked about recess, and I know I'm rabbiting on and people might be bored, you might have gone off or whatever. Okay, that's fair enough. Next time a bowl comes off, smacks you in the face, well, you could have prevented it, couldn't you?
That's right.
So yeah, like I said, it's when you get to that small size, it comes down to the fact of the leverage. Now, like I said, if that was a recess, that would all be inside, okay? And it's a lot harder to pull that out. That's why, like for rock climbing, you'll have those wedges. You put them into a rock, you drop it in, it can't come out. Okay, it's a bit more like that with that, but with this, and that is what happens. See, it peels off because of the way the grain goes. So even though I put that in and tighten it down, you can bang it off. Now you think the pressure you get when you get a catch. When you get a catch on a bowl, it's the same thing. Now that's the small little tenon. Okay, tighten a nip. Right, that came out, it's done exactly the same. Look, again, tenons. That's why quite a lot of the time I don't like tenons. But again, see, it goes at the same place every time. It peels, so it doesn't matter what depth that tenon is, whether it's that big or that big, because that is where it will go every time, is there. So the actual depth of it isn't important. What's important is how much surface area you can get hold of to stop that maneuver, that seesaw effect, like wiggling a tooth, you know.
Yeah.
It's if you can stop that from happening. Now, if that's on that big tenon back there and you've done that same banging, you'd have a lot more trouble to pull that off. But that's how tenons go, they break like so. But that one actually took more to get off because a smaller bowl, we've got more surface area there covered than we have on that one in comparison. So that's basically what I wanted to cover, guys. The other question a lot of the time is speed. About speed, what speed to turn? You know, speed for bowls. I've heard people say that there's a way of working it out. You take this number by that number by your diameter, and you do this, and you multiply it, divide it by 9,000, and all this. It's a load of crap. It really is an absolute load of crap and totally a waste of time. It does not work for wood turning. It just doesn't work. There's too many variations. Mathematics doesn't work when there's all these variations. It comes down to one thing: size doesn't matter. Don't judge your speed if you're turning your bowl by size. It comes down to weight. Okay, it's the weight of the piece you're turning, not the size of it. You could turn an 18-inch bowl at 2,000 RPM and be absolutely fine. But you could put a 6-inch bowl that's out of balance because of the weight on it, and it'll bounce your lathe all over the place. It's it's the only way I can relate it to try and put it into an easy terms is you go out to your car and look at your wheels. You've got 4 wheels on your car, okay? They'll all be exactly the same size. They're exactly the same width. They've got the same tyres, the same tread, same air pressure. Look at the lead on there that's balancing them, and I bet you'll find that each wheel's got a different amount of lead, different position, everything. Because just because they're perfect round doesn't mean it's in balance. And you'll know if you go down the road and you get a little bit of shaking, you get to a certain speed, normally it's always around 60, you get a bit of shaking. You need your balancing done. You go in, they balance the wheels, everything's perfect. Now you can go any speed you want and you don't get no wobble. And it's more violent, the more out of balance it is, the more violent the wobble is. It's the same with the bowl. If it's out of balance, it's the weight of a thing. Now, you'll do parting off, you'll part something so you can have even with bowl boxes, whatever, you'll put it there, you'll part it. You know, as soon as that parting goes through, it stops, got it in your hand, right? Because it's a nice lightweight thing. So it stops, it's got no problem. Do that with something that weighed 10 kilo, you'll go, momentum, it would keep going because it's got its weight behind it. It's no different with the bowl. It's the weight that matters, not the size. Don't ever judge your speed by size. Judge it by weight and how balanced that piece is. I've done a video, there's a video a little bit further back where I put a biggish bowl on that was all out of shape, but because it was balanced, and I always say if you put it on and you turn it, if it turns and then it does this, that's going to give you problems because you've got more weight on one side there. That's going to bounce your lathe about. And I had a big piece that was all out of shape, but it was in balance, so I could turn it 2,000 RPM. a small little one that was out of balance.
Yeah.
The weight was on one side, and that shook the lathe violently. So it's not size, guys. It is down to weight. There are no fast rules. It's suck it and see. Try it. Same with Tenons. Try it. Try all the different ones. See what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. You might not have the same chucks. You might not turn the same. You know, speed is not a problem. The problem is the piece, one, being held properly, and two, being in balance or out of balance. That's what causes problems. And then the biggest issue of all, for any bowl coming off or anything, don't get a catch. If you get a catch, it's coming off. That's it. It's catches. Okay? Everyone says, oh, it was the tenon that was wrong. I got a catch and it flew off. My tenon was wrong. Oh, I will never use a mortise again. I got a catch and it flew off. You're missing the point. You got a catch. The tenon didn't fail. The mortise didn't fail. The bowl didn't go nowhere. You got a catch. You caused it to happen. If you didn't get that catch, it wouldn't have gone nowhere.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. Don't get catches. And if you follow what I've told you, use your tools the way I've said to use them, you'll never get a catch. Simple as that. Right. Hope that's helped, Aaron. I know I've waffled on, but I'm not doing no turning.
No.
Got nothing else to do. So
got a couple of thank yous.
All right, thank you.
Just, just for the donations to the channel. Paul Maston, I think it is, Maston, and Chip Troost. So thank you very much. Yep, very much
Thank you
appreciated.
very much for your donations.
Yeah.
Very much appreciated. And if you can hit the subscribe button, guys, or hit the like button, or just viewing is enough. That's it. That's fine. So, and we'll keep doing them. But I hope that helped. Might have helped some people. You might think it's a load of rubbish. Then that's fair enough. But my main thing is, there is no hard and fast rules. There is no correct size tenon. There is no correct depth of tenon. It depends on what you're turning. Wood is different. There are as much wood as there is in the world. There are no two pieces the same, I'm afraid.
No.
And even a log. Get a tree log, cut it in half. That piece acts totally different to that piece. Put that piece on the lathe, it'll turn nice, it'll be fine. Put the other piece on, same speed, and your lathe will be.
Yeah.
Wood is wood, I'm afraid. That is it. There are no fixes, but there are no mathematics that can help you, because there's no two pieces of wood. That mathematics can't take into account fact a variation of that side of the bowl being heavier than that side. They're both 12 inches, but there's no way you're going to turn that 12-inch bowl the same speed as that 12-inch bowl because of the weight. That one will turn fine, that one will rattle your lathe all over the place. So that's what you've got to take. It's just a trial and error. You can't teach experience, I'm afraid, guys. Just turn loads of bowls, let them come off, let them hit you. That's the quickest way to learn. When a bowl hits you, you learn really quick. You do.
Make sure you got your mask on.
But protect yourself.
Yeah.
Wear the face. Stand out of the way. Start the lathe. Stand out of the way.
Yeah.
If the lathe bounces about, maybe you might go through it with the speed. You might have to come down with the speed. Very rarely I'll go down with speed. Normally I'll go up. Get to a certain point where the speed takes over and it's just there. That's it. It's fine. So anyway, that's it, guys. I will see you on the next one. Hope it's helped. If it hasn't, then don't worry, just don't watch it. Click off to something else. We've got plenty of other videos there.
Yeah.
So toodle pip, guys, and see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.